The 2002 grand final, Brisbane and Collingwood by
The kick inside the forward 52. Rocker finds him. He is 55 out. Got it beautifully off the boot. It is coming back.
McRae swats it out to Hart. Hart for the first goal for the Lions. Has nailed it.
Handball off to Buckley. He thumps it back at goal. Nathan Buckley.
Oh, you star, Buckley.
The Pies are in front. Handball to Voss. Voss running on 50. Right foot flying shot on goal. The superstar. The superstar for the Lions.
Akermanis, left foot snap. Akermanis has kicked it. So excited. Brisbane have won back-to-back premierships.
It's coming after this.
Well done.
I can't remember calling a whole grand final with a man latched onto my plum bag.
Oh, mate, what happened to your voice?
I don't know.
What was your voice doing?
There's been some treatment.
Helium balloons.
There's been some treatment, bro.
Sounds like you just dropped.
And very high pitch.
Says kick the goal.
Now, straighten up, you idiots, because I'll tell you what we're doing now is being a royalty.
Yeah.
We're speaking to football royalty. 3-time Premiership player, Brownlow medal, of course, best and fairest winner times 2, 5 times an All-Australian, and one of our all-time favourites in Michael Voss joins us right now. Vossy, good having you on board.
Gentlemen,
Tell us about 2002 and your memories of that day.
oh geez, boys, I battled to think back that far. It's seems such a long time ago.
Have a look at him.
Look at him. It wouldn't fit. I bet for
I don't think of that day often, boys. I just
He's got the Lions jumper on and drinking out of the Premiership Cup. Beautiful.
Whose jumper is it?
well, no, it's mine. And
Clark Keating's or
although a
something.
couple of the sponsors are not hanging around any longer, but no, they were good days. Very good days, good times. It was a pretty tough day that day, 2002. It certainly didn't have it on our terms, that's for sure.
Nathan Buckley won the Norm Smith medal of Aussie, but I heard that you yourself thought you probably should have won it. Your best. You were very good that day.
He was very good.
Again, it was like one of those ones where at the end of the game, the last thing I was looking at was the dice in terms of that particular medal. They're always nice little things to win as extra, but I think going into the day, I was more concerned about not playing on the Norm Smith medalist, and unfortunately I had some time on him. So clearly he had a good influence. He played a super game. I was happy with the influence I had on mine, and that's what I really cared about.
What about late in the game, Vossy? Probably the controversial moment of the game. It was pretty late. It would have put Collingwood 2 goals up. Anthony Rocker, forward pocket, members side from memory. Look, we had a pretty good position on it. I honestly couldn't tell whether it was a goal or a point, but Collingwood players have still said they think it was an absolute goal. Where were you? Did you have a good look at it? What did you think?
Oh, well, I'll clearly always say a point, but we do have a silent fact amongst the group that any time we're talking to Collingwood supporters or at Collingwood functions, we always tell them it's a goal. That's it to lose. I was at a function, I think, a couple of years ago with Mick Malthouse, and Mick was telling the story of the 2002 grand final, how close it was, and relayed that story about Rocker, and he said Craig McRae let him know that it was a goal. And I said, "Oh, Mick, don't need to let you know this, but we've got this sort of silent story where we tell all Collingwood people it was a goal." He didn't laugh. He just he stared straight at me, and I sort of thought, "Oh, where's my thing here?"
Hey, Vossy, you played with some boys that had some serious swagger. Jay Brown, Akermanis, Lepper in the back half, the Scott boys. Who of that lot had the most shoulder roll and the happiest sort of feeling about themselves?
Oh, wow. I'm going to throw a few under the bus here, aren't I?
Do it.
Well, we always thought Lepper probably had the most arrogant head of all. He could put on a good one from time to time. So, cheerio, Lepper. I hope you're listening. Jonathan Brown had a genuine swagger about him, even at 19 years of age. It's interesting when you look back at things that you do forget. 2001, you forget that Brownie was, only 19 or 20. I mean, he just didn't play in that manner. He was a man right from the start. But he had as good a swagger as anybody. Thankfully, we had a few because I think that's sort of what made our edge was at a different stage. I mean, we couldn't say that Acker didn't have a swagger, could we?
No.
There was probably none better, but we're probably lucky that we were able to manage those at the same time. But we got some good results.
Hey, Vossy, tell us about Acker and the conversation that Lee had towards the end before Acker left. And obviously there was some, certain situations going on there. What was the conversation that Lee had with you guys in regards to Acker and what he was doing outside the club? Can you tell us that?
Oh, it was almost a weekly management exercise. Look, I don't think Acker will mind. We often refer to Acker as, or Lee referred him internally as a bit of a consultant. Had a specialist set of skills, but wasn't necessarily part of the team. And that's the way he spoke to us. But at the same time, I think we bought into that as well. He did make us better. That's a backhand compliment in some ways, but he made us better with the skills that he's brought, and that's what Lee did sell to us. He was very good at being able to do that, and maybe Jason didn't realise how much Lee did support him because there was plenty of times when we were upset with some of the things he did or said.
This was about the time also of the Mel Michael Malloy exchange from team to team, wasn't it, Vossy? Was there much friction involved with those two?
Jeez, you're bringing up all the good ones. Well and surely reshirts newspapers on these ones. That was a bit of dialogue at a Mad Monday. That was shut down pretty quick, BT.
Right. Okay.
While we don't mind winning, we also would like to think that we went a little humbly, and that probably wasn't it. But certainly from our point of view, he was obviously a very important person to bring into the team. We were struggling in 2000 or didn't finish where we wanted to, and had to make a couple of calls. And Duck, your mate Pikey joined us.
I was going to ask you that. How did you handle Pikey on the Mad Mondays?
Just stay away from him, mate. There's just one rule. We've only just heard of this social distancing, but there was a bit of distancing going on Mad Monday.
The CEO, Michael Bowers, Vossy, didn't heed that advice, did he, after 204 when he found his head near Martin Pike's head?
There was a couple of subjects you just shouldn't bring up was how much he was getting paid. So if you raised that as a particular subject, it didn't end well.
Hey, Vossy, I want to do a little true or false with you. Did you, I think it was at Cardinia Park, did you, after half-time, say to the senior umpire who was about to bounce the ball, we can't start this game until you get the kid from the Little League off, pointing to Shannon Burns? Did you actually say that?
Yeah, Shannon Burns.
Poor old Burns.
He raised the story that he was going pretty good. Now, I don't know whether that part's true, but I was standing beside him, and of course Geelong were just the emerging young team coming through, and I was standing beside him at a stoppage and yelled out to the umpire to make sure he stopped the game. So I said there's an Oz kicker still left on the ground.
And all right, is it true? We'll play this game.
Yes.
That Brett Voss was on the mark when you were having a shot at goal, and he said, "My mum slept with your dad last night." Is that true?
Well, Billy, that story has got around a lot, and of course the sledging there. Where there was the consequences of that was I couldn't get the bloody image out of my head for the rest of the game.
Hey, I'll tell you what else. You mentioned Justin Lepich, an old mate Damo here.
No. I don't know. He went white.
We were all there, weren't we? We were all there.
So just run us through that one, Vossy, from the Brisbane Lions side of things.
Yeah, well, that was... we were obviously celebrating the end of the year and catching up as a group, and you guys had just finished the footy show, I'm led to believe.
Yes.
We met in a common bar, and it got a little bit heated. I thought I'd still have the captain's head on, and
Michael, I think you saved my life. I think you saved my life.
And so we were standing there, and I sort of thought I've done well to take the replicate this particular instance. And all of a sudden, we stand beside these ferns. Next minute, I just hear this sound in the ferns, and there was ice being thrown in our direction. But
was a
the
glass.
problem was, I didn't mind if it hit Damo, but I was 1.5 meters away. So I said to the leper, I said, "Mate, if you miss Damo, you're going to hit me." So
I don't think it was ice.
No.
Bossy, it wasn't ice.
I think it was glass, Voss. Anyway.
was it really? There you go. I didn't know that.
Do you catch up, you boys, much? Do you get the chance to do that, given you're all around Australia?
Oh, not as often as we'd like. Given the fact that we were the interstate team and from all over Australia, it was difficult for us to be able to post career to catch up as much as we'd like to. But that's why we use the grand final week as a chance to. We don't make a stock rule on it. We just try and use that as the week to catch up. Sometimes 10 turn up, sometimes 15 turn up. It's completely up to the individual, but that seems to be the week that suits everybody. And it's an old shoe. If we don't talk to anyone, it's just like old times, and we get to talk and have a laugh like what we have here around things that have happened, and some really good memories.
Vossy, you were captain of one of the all-time great AFL teams, 3 premierships in a row. Thanks very much for joining us.
No worries, fellas. Make sure you enjoy it.
Got the footy. He's got the Lions jumper on, the football,
That's it.
and drinking out of the Premiership cup.
Why wouldn't you?
I would have got the medal, but I couldn't find it. So
and too many of them.
He's
wouldn't
gone,
you?
boys. I'm going to ask you a question, right?
Yep,
Stay there, Vossy. Have a look. One player you got to pick. One name. Voss, Buckley, Hurd.
Voss.
No. Jim, all right?
No.
Voss.
Brian?
Oh, it's hard. They're all good. They're all
Hence
great.
the question.
Vossy's tougher than the rest.
I've always said Voss, Hurd, Buckley.
You're your number 2 in the
Damo?
top 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got Voss clearly.
Who do you reckon, Vossy?
I'm going with majority.
What a champ. We love chatting to him always. Been great, and nice show too, by the way.
Good show.
Chris.